By the way, one thing we haven't talked about yet, last weekend, the week one, there is a week zero, a few games, but the first big week was last weekend, week one. Texas, Ohio State, that 11 a.m. Central Time kickoff there on Fox, the first big game of the day. 16.6 million people watching. Yeah, so much for interest being down in college football. I don't think so.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And NIL was going to kill the ratings. People are going to lose interest. It's 11 a.m. game, all these bad things. This is why the Big Ten and SEC got buku bucks from the TV networks, because 16.6 million people are watching that game.
Yeah, and Notre Dame, Miami did 10-8. Bama, FSU did 10-7. LSU and Clemson did 10-4. What a weekend for college sports. Amazing for college football.
I'll be honest. I do watch sports. I don't watch as much as I used to because I don't have to. It's not longer my full-time job. But I was at the airport at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport 5 hours before my flight because I wanted to see Ohio State and Texas. And then I watched Alabama FSU as long as I could before I had to get on my plane, and then came back and followed on my phone until I got home. And then that night turned on LSU, Clemson, watched Notre Dame. I watched all of it. And clearly I wasn't alone. Look, it's exciting. And like I said before, I think we're all purists. We all prefer. We'd like to go back to when there was the Big Eight and the Southwest Conference was here. The Big Ten was actually 10 teams. That's not happening anymore. And even though that's gone, I don't mind it because I think it's great theater every single week. We got another one this weekend. Michigan, Oklahoma is another great matchup. Saturday night on ABC. I think it's great for all of us who are fans.
Yeah, I love it. It's the best time of year. I've always said the fall is it. I mean, you got playoff baseball. You're starting college basketball. You got college football rolling. This is it, man. This is the ultimate season.
And the NFL is kicking off. How do you get any better? And then you've got big fights with Canelo going up against Bud at 168. This is going to be some excellent sports watching weekends.
Yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, by the way, Arch Manning taking over early on. It was amazing to see him for Texas. Didn't do real well, but boy, the people are just ready to give up on him. It was week one against the national champs. Come on.
Yeah, Texas is still in play to win the national title. Let's be honest. They lost by 1 touchdown on the road at arguably the best defense in the country in Ohio State in his first start. Goodness gracious, give the kid a break. I think some people said he's only there because he's Manning. No, you're only griping because he's a Manning. That's the reality. You're only griping because his last name is Manning.
The interesting thing is his high school videotape is like, look, he played against horrible competition. So that's out there. And now you've got all these different reasons that down here in Texas, people are melting down that they've got the wrong quarterback. I just think, I'll be honest with you, if you look at anything, it's Sark has been unbelievable as a play caller between the 20s. And even back when he was the Atlanta offensive coordinator, they struggled in the red zone. So maybe it's the coach having as much problems as Arch Manning. But I would recommend one thing for young quarterbacks. Don't have your first game be on the road at the Horseshoe against what could be a generational defense.
Usually a bad idea.
Exactly. Meanwhile, Dan Hurley, he's the two-time 1 year removed from the back-to-back NCAA championships. And a story on CBSSports.com this week that he thought about walking away from basketball because they didn't do so well this past year. Now, here's a guy that threw tantrums at refs, literally threw himself on the floor like a toddler at the Maui Invitational. And now he's just saying I don't know. Let me stop there before I curse and I break some FCC rules. You guys talk amongst yourselves. Dan Hurley thought about quitting. Ugh.
It reminded me of, do you remember Feinstein's book, A Season on the Brink? Talking about it's like the expectations get to be so high that it's almost impossible to live up to them. And some of these guys are so competitive and singularly focused that they can't handle it. And so they act like petulant children. And that's the way Hurley is. And I think also there's an arrogance and an ego that didn't allow him to accept that you can't win a national title every single year.
You know, the funniest thing that I saw this summer was going to EYBL games. Bobby Hurley, who we only see overly intense moments, was holding court amongst other coaches, telling stories, and they were all around him, and he was gesticulating and having a good time, and guys were laughing. And when you see the image that he presents on game day, I wouldn't have thought he was capable of that, but yet he was so different. Maybe he thought about things a little bit for a couple minutes. I don't know, but I just found that a total juxtaposition for how we normally are told to think about him. And I saw it over a couple days where he was having a great time, and the other coaches around him were laughing and having a great time too.
Yeah. Maybe he's wound too tight. Maybe he's a calmer, gentler Bob, or Dan Hurley comes up. Almost called him Bob Knight because he reminds me of Bob Knight. I've called Mike Krzyzewski Knight 2.0. Hurley may be 3.0. He may be I think he's the next iteration. So yeah. Okay, we'll leave it there. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Thanks again to everyone who stopped by as always. Appreciate it. Don't forget post-game podcast on YouTube. Mike and the fellas immediately after the game. It's on our YouTube channel. Be sure to go there and subscribe right away. Do that right now. And then be there immediately after the game as our guys will break down what we're going to speak into the universe and Illini win at Duke. There it is. All right. Enjoy the game and enjoy the weekend. We'll see you next time. Same place. We're the Illini guys. Take care.